Elite Facts presents
7 interesting and creepy Japanese myths.
7.
Amaterasu. Let's start this list with something a bit more pleasant before we get into the strange, weird stuff. Amaterasu is a sun goddess of the Shinto religion. It's believed that she sent her grandson Jimmu to Earth 3,000 years ago to be the first ruler of Japan, beginning the divine family of Japanese emperors. Legend states that she was given rule over the sky by Izanagi when he handed to her his holy necklace. Later, during a competition with her brother Susanoo, Amaterasu gave birth to 3 goddesses, who, with Susanoo's offspring, are collectively the ancestors of Jimmu. During this competition, Amaterasu was stubborn and unwilling to admit defeat. This caused Susanoo to furiously wreak havoc throughout the heavens and the earth. Amaterasu fled into a cave, and her absence caused darkness throughout Japan. Amaterasu's absence caused much dismay and took a massive toll on Earth. As the crops and plants began to die off and the people on Earth began to suffer from the effects of her absence, the gods decided they needed to return Amaterasu to her position in the heavens. They sought the help of several deities and performed rituals and sacrifices outside of her cave. They also hung a mirror from a tree outside of the cave. Hearing all the commotion, Amaterasu came forth and asked why the gods seemed to be rejoicing. They replied that they had found a new mistress who would be the sun goddess's replacement. Amaterasu came forth in curiosity and peeked out of her cave. She immediately saw the mirror and was drawn to it. Having never seen her own reflection, Amaterasu thought she was looking at her majestic replacement. As she stepped forward to examine it, she was caught by one god and the cave was blocked by another. Amaterasu's presence illuminated the fields, and life returned to Japan's land.
6.
Heya Sube. So the Heya Sube are short humanoid demons who are just nothing but trouble. They are tiny and belligerent. Now, it doesn't sound dreadful, but let us just say that if you see one of these things, you will die. And believe us when we say that they are more than happy for you to see them. These creatures don't lurk in the shadows or hide in general, as they will simply wander wherever they please. Most often, they will get your attention if you have any vegetables growing in your garden, as they'll eat whatever is growing and trample your field like rodents just to get a rise out of you. About the only thing you can do to avoid accidentally seeing a Heya Sube is leave some eggplants out for them willingly, and even that's a 50-50 shot at best. Oh, and sometime Heya Sube will use your bathtub, leaving behind a huge amount of dirt, hair, and scum. If you throw out the bathtub water, the Heya Sube will rip you apart. Do yourself a favor and just buy a new tub and get someone else to install it.
5.
Snake Woman, Ana. This myth could easily tie with the Slit-Mouth Woman as one of the creepiest Japanese myths. So, do you enjoy a nice cool swim on a hot day? I mean, who doesn't? But perhaps you are particularly averse to receiving a cooling dose of urine at the local swimming pool. Maybe you just don't like the sand beneath your toes as you walk the beaches, choosing a nice, quiet, isolated spot from the rest of the nuisances that inhabit the city. Just as you found a nice, isolated spot and got yourself all set up and relaxed, you notice something in the nearby bed of water. You spot a woman in the water, long black hair flowing around her alabaster skin as she flails weakly. Deciding to release the inner David Hasselhoff in you, you fling yourself into the oddly calm waters and swim her way. You swim toward the endangered beauty, your eyes meeting as you work desperately to save the woman, except that now you seem to be paralyzed. Also, Ariel now appears to be using her long, prehensile snake body to gracefully close the romantic distance between you. Perhaps you consider she simply wishes to save you from this terminal case of leg cramps. Perhaps the piercing of your tender man flesh by her snake-like tongue is some odd form of mermaid CPR. No, you are now being slowly digested by the snake woman, or Ana. Next time, just stick to going to the local swimming pool.
4.
Giant skeleton, Gashadokuro. If you are visiting Japan, work or leisure, it doesn't matter what your trip is for, and find yourself staying out a bit too late into the night, do yourself a favor and skip taking that short route through the quiet streets and instead check into a nearby bed and breakfast. Not for fear of anything practical like street crime or the aforementioned perverts. I mean, that alone is reason enough to book a hotel room, but rather for the 90-foot cannibal skeleton tailing you home. You're likely to hear this oversized Halloween monster trope before you spot it, as it announces itself by the sound it makes with its gnashing teeth and an odd ringing sensation in your ears. caused by what we presume to be your Sonic-like shriek at the sight of a skeleton the size of a building hovering over you. Before you even know it, the Gashadokuro will catch you and deftly pluck you from where you stand, cleanly removing your head like a child with a G.I. Joe figure, and will sate its otherworldly thirst and anger by swigging your lifeblood like a delicious smoothie. Who knows though, maybe if you have a Subway sandwich on you while he catches you, he might trade the blood smoothie for a meatball marinara sub instead.
3,
Slit Mouth Woman. Without a doubt, one of the most creepy, downright scary urban legends to appear on this list. Allow us to introduce you to the Slit Mouth Woman. This legend originated in Japan and China and is about a girl called Kayuchu Seikona, also known as the Slit Mouth Woman. Some say that she was a samurai's wife. One day she cheated on her husband with a younger and better-looking man. When the husband returned, he discovered her betrayal. Enraged and furious, he took his sword and slit her mouth ear to ear. Some say that the woman was cursed to never die and still wanders the world so that people can see the horrible scar on her face and pity her. Some people claim that others have actually seen a very beautiful young lady who asked them, "Am I pretty?" And once they replied positively, she ripped off the surgical mask and showed them her horrible wound. She then asked the same question, "Am I pretty?" And anyone who no longer found her pretty was met by tragic death from her hands.
2,
The Red Room Curse. The Red Room story is an internet legend about a pop-up advertisement that appears on the victim's computer. That alone is quite horrifying, what with viruses and stuff. The image simply shows a door and a recorded voice asks, "Do you like the Red Room?" It is unknown as to what happens after discovering this message, as those who have seen the pop-up ad are later found dead, their walls painted red in their own blood. The legend began with a flash animation of a boy being cursed after encountering the pop-up, but gained notoriety when it was found that the schoolgirl who committed the Sasebo slashing in 2004 had the video as a bookmark.
1,
Takei Takei. Takei Takei is admittedly more of an urban legend than a regular myth. However, it is a myth definitely worth mentioning, regardless of how recent this myth actually is. Takei Takei is a spirit of a girl who tripped on some train tracks and was cut in half by an oncoming train arriving at the station. Legend has it that she now crawls around looking for other people to share her fate, which she facilitates by viciously cutting them in half. So, as if one of these things isn't bad enough, it's said that there's another variant of the Takei Takei myth, which is about a girl named Reiko Rashima, who was also cut in half by a train. Maybe put some fences up around the tracks? Anyway, what makes her different, however, is that she now wanders bathroom stalls and asks people on the toilet if they know where her legs are. If people don't answer with the Meishin Railway, she cuts off their legs, which is bad at the best of times, let alone when you're trying to use the toilet.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.